Zielinski, and I've been producing film for over a decade now. So one of the most essential tools that I've used in my toolbox for my entire career has been the pitch deck. It's how you bring your vision to life and how you show others the potential for your project. So today I'm going to take you step by step through an actual pitch deck that I've created. So whether you're new to this or you're refining your skills, I'm going to show you how to make your project stand out. This is where strategy meets creativity. So let's get started. Cue the pitch deck. Okay, so here we are, the cover page. This is the gateway to your film. And let's just take a look at this for a minute together. What does this say to you? Hopefully it says, I think a woman is lost at sea. Yeah? Look, this is we went through several iterations of this creative, and when we got to this, I knew this was the one because this was the poster that I saw, in the AMC, right? And that's how you need to think of it. This cover page is your key art poster. It should be pretty down close to what you want people to see and to think of your movie. So if you got that, winner, we did good on this one. Okay, so moving on to the next page here. There we go. All right, the logline. Most of you probably know what this is, but it's it's really the hook for your audience. It's one or two sentences that really lets the audience know this is what my story's about. So let's go over this one. Stranded at sea after a violent storm, a young woman embarks on a journey of self-discovery, confronting her inner demons and uncovering the resilience of the human spirit. Guided by a distant voice over our fading radio, her fight for survival transforms her in ways she never imagined. Okay, so there you see that we're really digging into the internal struggle, her conflict, and then what could be guiding her, what could be helping her, so you're trying to shine light on the antagonist and protagonist, but really just dig into what the conflict is here. So I thought we did a pretty good job on this one. Again, you want to keep it short, sharp, emotional, and, really honing in on the stakes and the emotional journey. And you know what? A lot of this, I'm not going to lie to you, you can use some of the AI things out there like chat to kind of help you brainstorm these things, because this type of writing is marketing. It can be really hard to kind of come up with all the buzzwords yourself. So, there's a lot of tools out there that could kind of help you formulate these things. So don't be afraid to use them. I'm not. Okay. Moving on to come on now, buddy. You can do this. Synopsis. Again, you can kind of see with tone of the deck already. I kind of chose, where it's a woman lost at sea survival story. So the water, the color, the tones, but yet you see there's a little bit darker gray here. So that was the choice to kind of just in the background, the levity of the situation of being lost at sea. I mean, that sounds horrendous, doesn't it? It's one of my worst nightmares. All right, so synopsis. So this is just an expansion of your story. You're kind of wanting to keep it, it's a little bit longer than the log line. I would say you could go to 350 to 500 words for this. So just kind of touching on this, let's I'm just going to read this to you real quick. Saved is a gripping tale inspired by true events about a young woman who sets out on a vacation with her mother to heal their strained relationship. After a heated argument, she decides to venture out alone on a small boat to explore the nearby islands. A sudden violent storm capsizes her boat, leaving her stranded in the vast, unforgiving ocean and no immediate hope of rescue. So then I continue just to go on and expound a little bit more there. The last tagline is saved as a powerful story of survival and self-discovery, highlighting the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of embracing one's inner strength. So again, I'm just trying to, put enough detail in here to pull that reader in, to get them wanting to know more about the story without giving it all away. Again, this is, if you're the writer, you can help craft the synopsis. As the producer, you work with your writer to help craft the synopsis. On this one, I was actually the writer. So I wrote the script and, just playing with different ideas and iterations to come up with this synopsis. And I felt like it hit the nail on the head. But I want to tell you a story about this movie or potential movie. So basically, as I said, I wrote the script. I met with the woman and it's about a woman's true life story, so got her rights and everything, and spent 2 years on this script. And when I finished, I shared the story, and she absolutely hated it. Hated it. And I say that with a smile because inside I'm as, those dark skies in this slide, that's me internally, because it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into that. But, it was one of those things where my vision for the movie and her vision for the movie were two separate things. And that was a lesson. And it doesn't always work out. And I've heard the story too from other producers. Actually just worked on a top sheet for another producer who was writing a golf story about the real guy. He read the story and yeah, they're going back to square one. Unfortunately, and that's fortunate for them. With me, she wanted to tell the story the way she wanted to tell it. I had to respect that. And then that was okay. So there was no fixing it or rewriting it or there was no really happy medium on this one. So those are my tears. I'm shedding them on the inside. But, as producers, filmmakers, projects evolve and we just have to learn to adapt, right? So I'm adapting and you get to see this, this really great sampling. And, I actually did get some bites, investors interested in this story. So this is a good tool and it's a good learning experience for everyone. All right, so the next slide here is story and tone. So you probably also seen this slide as a comparable. You might have seen these in some things where, okay, this movie's a lot like this. So these are the 4 stories that I felt like it was the closest, having watched all 4 of them before I even wrote the script. And they really do. They are stories of perseverance and courage. So it gives the our investor or the studio an idea of the type of movie that's already out there that this could be like. And it's also a great way to get comparables on sales, because you can look these things up online and get some numbers to see how these things do in box office, internationally, domestically. So this is a great starting point. I did not delve into those details as far as the numbers on this. I just wanted to share tone and kind of go from there. Because remember, when you're talking to investors, like studios, a little different. If they like the story and they like where you're going, then they're just going to give you the money. If there's an independent investor, they may want more things. They may want a return on investment. They may want to see a full out budget, which I'll talk about here in just a second. So moving on to the next slide would be the producer slide. My producer slide. So any attachments you may have as an executive producer. Remember in one of my episodes that I did that, just attachments from A-list actors or veteran producers can help greenlight a project. So, this was a faith-based project. So my attachment to this, having worked in the faith-based world, helped or can help greenlight the project. So that's what this slide is for. And if you have those people, put them in there. Okay. Same here. So now we're moving on to what potential cast could greenlight your movie. So this was a list that I got from a casting director I work with. So you could solicit a casting director to help you with this. You may know people, you may know agents, where you can share your synopsis or logline and this pitch deck to get some idea of people that might want to audition for your movie. You could go out to for offers. So this was the list that we came up with. One of my favorites is Jennifer Gardner. I just saw her as the mom character. I just knew it. And she does faith-based movies, so we felt like she was maybe a possible get. And then some really wonderful up-and-coming actresses here. Isabel May, Daisy Edgar-Jones. She had just done Twisters. And some of this could be a bit of a wish list, but we felt from the guidance I got from the casting director, felt like these were very possible. So that's kind of how you do that. Remember, you estimate, you guess, you do your best educated guess to do this, because a lot of things can change when you're actually casting. All right, next slide. Location. So this is, gorgeous place. South Africa, Seychelles. So I already had the benefit of doing a series out here in South Africa, down in Cape Town, an amazing series. And we have, the best locations you can see here from the slide. Some of the water tanks that they had down there, and some of these are used in some of the movies, a series called Black Sails. So I knew that I needed a water tank to be able to do the water scenes in this movie. Guys, I get seasick, so I don't even know what I was thinking, that I'm going to do a movie on water. Okay, but mind you, when I wrote this thing, a third of it's on water, 2/3 of it are in flashbacks. Yes, I wasn't going to stay on water the whole time. So incentive states, locations, choosing your locations, this is really important. Really dig into that when you start looking into where you do your movies. There is no reason to not do your homework and see where you can get money back. In our case, we got about 25% back on about a $6 million spend. So I got about $1 million back. Now, mind you, when I say 6 million, when you're doing the percentage on that, you might go, Anna, that doesn't equal $1 million. A lot of stuff's, disqualified. It's not an apples to apples ratio. So there's certain things that when you film there do qualify, and some things that if you shot here in the U.S. don't. So, but here I also needed an island, someplace that looked like the real location where this woman was actually lost, which was the Philippines. It was coming out cheaper to shoot here. So, but how gorgeous is this? So the potential for the movie, doesn't it just jump out at you? Don't you want to just invest in the movie? Okay, well, investors that saw this, they did. Okay, so the last slide that I have here is the production detail slide. So I kind of lump in one slide things that can be broken out in other people's, pitch decks. I've seen this, and mind you, this is kind of the basic slides. Like, let me finish here and then I can come back full circle on that. So I put a financing bubble here where I actually did the math, because I do those calculations and I did my budget. So I did that here. This is where it kind of came out to be with the rebate. So it was going to be about a 5.2. The film was going to run about an hour 45. And then a production schedule that I put together was about 12 weeks of pre-prep, pre-pro. It'd take us about a month to shoot, and then 6 months in post. This can be broken out. You can definitely maybe lay out a budget. You like we did, remember in our budgeting episode, I could have put a top sheet in this, and I chose not to at this point and just chose to summarize it because I wanted to take this in steps with the investor. Knowing that the investor wasn't maybe as savvy in this world, I didn't want to overwhelm them with the top sheet. But the next conversation would have been, hey, do you have a breakout? Which I would have expected. Then I would give the top sheet. Then you're going to have the question of, how about my return on investment? What we call ROI. That's where you can run comparables. You can take those films that I had here. Let's go back to that slide. Let's go back to the slide here, the story and tone slide. So these are your comparables. So you can look up what these things did in box office and get a rough idea of what they did, because they don't list all the numbers on the film. They just kind of lump them into one big total. But clearly, you know, a lot of these are two or three of these films did really well. So when you're talking to your investor, you're sharing that, or at least I did, that these survival type stories do have a place in the market. So, you know, with this deck, I guess the key thing that I wanted to say is when we pitch to the studios or we're pitching to an investor, we try to keep the deck pretty succinct. You might have seen decks that have more character descriptions. They're going to have more on story arcs and what we call more of a mood board. And so I've seen them mixed, and from our vantage point, say the distributor, or even when we gave too much to the studios, they were like, we don't need all this. We kind of need you to just cut to the chase on just the main slides that I showed you here, right? So a lot of times, like I said, those things are called, like, directors will create a mood board or a lookbook that really just delves into more of the creative. Now that is a really great tool to have, and if the studio is really interested, when they were interested in something that we had, they might ask for that to go, okay, let me know. Now I want to know more about the creative. We would send something like that. But for you starting off, this is a perfect guide of, you know, where we had about 7 slides here that you can put together. It really paints a picture of exactly, you know, what your project is about, what the vision is, what films are comparable, and gives you a really great starting point for a conversation with investor or a studio. So I want to come back. So let's go back to the production details slide. Really, the essence of this is about showing your investors you can pull this off. You've got a handle of this project. You're showing me the financing. You know, I like to always add, you know, what's your thought on runtime? And then definitely the schedule of really laying out, this is exactly how and when I think I can do my movie. So that really builds confidence with the investor. So as you can see, you know, overall, if you look at the tone of this deck, do you feel that it's pretty cohesive in tone and just color? It really jumps out. It makes you want to know more. And I have to say, despite my sad story about, you know, that not working out as far as the story goes, it really was a great experience for me, because to write someone's story like this and then just visualize it into this deck, it was a great experience. And I learned a lot about how I would, you know, move forward with someone if I was telling their life story, like a different kind of workflow of, you know, back and forth of communication on the story. But, you know, it was a great experience, and still think I can do the story by changing some things, because when things are based on true events, exactly true events, if you can tweak that and you can kind of do inspired by, there's still hope here. So there you have it, the basic layout to a pitch deck. You've got everything now from the visuals to the elements that need to come together to make the most compelling deck for you. You just need to make sure it's clear and concise, and be patient, because you'll go through a lot of iterations of this. I have I think 15 versions of this. But when it all came together, I knew this was the right one. So I'm really excited I got to share this with you and, you know, bare my heart a little bit with you. Just know there's ups and downs to producing, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles, eh? So do me a favor and put your questions below, comments, give me feedback about your own pitch decks. Happy to answer questions. And please hit that subscribe button and like button and all the other buttons you're supposed to hit. And as always, remember, together we create.